In this video, we're going to definitively prove that using high-risk reward systems are superior to scalpers to pass prop firm challenges. So we often find that most expert advisors and Forex bots in the marketplace tend to be either grid martingales or scalpers. And really the reason for this is it's a lot easier to make bots that have huge stop losses because they don't lose that often. And you're able to find more straightforward ways to code that, particularly as most EAs tend to be heavily based on indicators. Those type of systems are usually mean reverting in nature, and that generally speaking, like mean reversion more generally speaking, has higher win rates and lower risk rewards usually, and quite often they also have inverted risk rewards. This is in like a bot context. Like I'm not talking about crazy reversals, more about like a systematic trading strategy. And because of that, most bots are not great for passing prop firm challenges. Whereas here at Prosperity Algo, we specifically designed high risk reward bots because we saw like intuitively and from our own results that those just worked way better and you could be so much faster. But today, using the spreadsheet, which is our prop firm risk calculator and our prop firm speed calculator, I can show you guys definitively why this is the case. And it's pretty amazing, actually, that we can now concretely show why, if you are using a high risk reward system, that's really the secret. And I actually initially did this because I saw Bounce Skorpinski pass prop firm challenges with one trade. And I was like, well, clearly I'm being silly here trying to do this scalping with 50 trades a day. I can just make one trade and forget about it and let my winners run. And that's probably going to work. And lo and behold, when I started doing that and when our clients started doing that, it's been very effective. So here let me show you an example of a system, and this is like it's a calculator where we just plug in the win rate and the risk reward, and we're assuming a one-phase prop firm challenge, so we also plug in our pass percent is 10%, our fail percent is -6, and we're risking 2% per trade. Here you can see that we're simulating a number of trades, so this is just a sequence of trades. Here we are using a random number generator where we're going to put either a 1 or a 0, 1 if we win, 0 if we lose. And let me see if I can refresh here. But if we press F9, you guys can see that these are just constantly randomly generated in terms of a trial. And in this column here, we're doing cumulative R's. So for instance, here we have 3 losers in a row. So it's -2%, -4%, -6%. And this would be whether or not we pass or fail. What we have to look at is whatever word comes first. If it's fail, we failed the challenge, obviously. Whereas if it's pass, we pass the challenge. So here you can see we did -2, -2, -2. We hit the DD and we failed. Whereas if we did another example, we can see we passed in 3 because we did plus, so 4%, 8%, 12%. So like 2.5 trades in we would have passed because we're using a 2-to-1 risk reward. So that's essentially how this calculator works. And what we can do is we can run several different simulations where essentially instead of me manually pressing F9 to refresh, this will run hundreds of different simulations and output them in a summary tab, then telling us how quickly we should pass or fail. And you guys can see that here. We're running a bunch of different trials, and we can see that it's taking us, in this particular scenario, around 8.7 trades or around 8.3 trades to a result, 8.7 to pass, 6.9 to fail, and we're passing around 77% of our challenges. So quite good. And this, if we say that we're taking 1 trade per day, per business day that is, we're going to be passing in around 1.75 weeks. So in around 2 weeks, you can pass a prop firm challenge on average, but obviously sometimes you can pass in just a few days. And this is with a very high risk reward system. So our win rate here is going to be only 45%. So we're losing more often than we're winning. But when we win, we make 2-to-1 risk reward. And you can even extrapolate this and go to 3-to-1, 4-to-1, but typically your win rate would go a bit lower in that scenario. So now let's take a different type of system where instead of doing this, we pick a scalper. So here I ran a ultimate time bomb backtest, and this is a scalping system where we have a higher win rate, a higher win rate of 68%, but now all of a sudden we have a roughly 1 to 1.5 risk reward. So, or an inverted 1 to 1.5 risk reward. So let me just do a quick bit of math here. That would put us at a 0.67 R trade. Oh, shoot. And now we're going to say this was, I believe, 68%. So yeah, let's do 68%. And now we can do the same math again. So now we're going to pass roughly the same amount, but now it's going to take us, instead of taking 1.75 weeks, 4.75 weeks. So really, why is this? Simply because it's going to take a lot of wins in order to get enough R's. And you're going to just constantly be taking these little wins and losses and having one step forward, one step back, two steps forward, one step back. So obviously this is a profitable system. Like, we wouldn't offer any EAs if you're not profitable. But when you have to kind of get these big wins, the ability to go aggressive on a high risk reward system really gets you there faster. And the main reason for this is if you risk 2% on a high win rate, low risk reward system, that's much more conservative than risking 2% on a high risk reward, low win rate system. Like, think about this logically. Imagine you have a 95% win rate system and you risk 2% per trade. So your stop loss, if you hit your stop loss, you're risking 2%. You're very rarely going to hit that. So it's actually quite conservative, because realistically, 95% of the time, you're not going to hit that 2%. But let's say you're only right 45% of the time. You're going to hit that 2% quite often, particularly like every couple of days, you're going to hit that 2% loss, right? So because of that, on a prop firm, we're only able to risk 1%. We're only able to risk 2%. We can't risk 10% of the account. However, if you want to be aggressive, you need to go with a lower win rate, high risk reward system, because just the rules of the prompt firm limit you from being aggressive on a more high win rate, low risk reward system. So essentially, because we're leverage constrained and we often have max lot size limits, going with more of a scalping system, we're forced to be very conservative and therefore be quite slow. So if we did this exact same math, this conclusively proves over 100 different trials that high risk reward is just way more effective. And that's why we use it. And that's what I've seen as well personally and with many, many clients by now. This works. So stop trying to scalp your way through a prop firm challenge. Be my guest, but it's relatively slow. Whereas if you take this approach, it is far more effective. So guys, if you want to learn more about this, sign up for a trial of our prop bundle. You can test it out yourself. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.